Let's talk about how you can get Power BI into D365 by putting specific tiles onto your account form, your contact form, your opportunity form. This is a game changer. It is going to bring real-time data into Microsoft Dynamics right in front of your users. Welcome to the step-by-step guide of how you can get this turned on in your environment today. Let's get into it. So here we are in Microsoft Dynamics, and you want to take your forms from this to this. Let me tell you, it's easier than you might think. It is not that hard. The first thing you need to do is navigate to make.powerapps. Once you are in make.powerapps, you're going to need to navigate to either an existing solution or create a new one. There's only a couple of components that need to be in the solution, and the first component is going to be the form of which you want this tile to be on. So for our example today, we want to add some tiles to the account main form. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a new solution and add the account entity and then the account main form. This way we can get this form updated with our new tiles. But no worries, I've not created the tiles yet. I'm gonna be showing you how to do that as well. So after adding our table and now finding our form component, let's go ahead and select add. And then after a few seconds, here it is in our solution. So we're now going to have to put a pause on the Power Apps Maker portal and actually navigate to the Power BI desktop. Power BI desktop is going to be where you are going to connect to your data set, which in our example is Dataverse, and we are going to be creating a report. And then you can actually pull this report into your form and then see it in Dynamics. So if you have not connected to a data source yet in Power BI desktop, that is what I am doing here. Go ahead and select Get Data from Another Source. I'd recommend then just searching for Dataverse in the search box and then selecting that and hitting connect. Then you're just gonna have to select your environment here, and then you're gonna have to actually select the table you're looking for. In our situation, we are looking for the opportunities table. What we're building today is we want on our account form to show all of the revenue that account has generated through closed opportunities. So we want our report to actually look at opportunity data. Go ahead and find your table and then select the checkbox next to it. If you want to wait for the data to show a preview, you can, but I'm gonna go ahead and select load. Once you hit load, Power BI is gonna ask you a question on how you want your data to be updated. So it actually gives you the option of how to connect to your data source. This connection is going to be relative to when you are building your reports. So for example, if while you're building your report, you need to see live updates of the data, then you need to select direct query. If not, then you can just go ahead and select import. This does not have any implications on your eventual report's output. So for example, if you select import, your eventual report that you create will still be updated in real time. This is just for the sake of creating the connection for the report. For this situation though, because it's a trial environment, I know there's no data updates happening while I'm working. I'm just gonna go ahead and select direct query. Our next step in the process is gonna still be in Power BI desktop. Eventually, after your data is connected, you'll be shown this screen here where it's asking you to drag your different visuals onto the canvas. If you have not used Power BI desktop before, that is okay. It is fairly intuitive. I'm not gonna be covering how to do that today. So there is a little bit of an understanding of at least how to create a general report. Just note that if you are building this report to be on a form, you do not want it to be very complicated. You're also going to be very limited by the pixels, by the size of this canvas. The first step of once you are at your canvas is going to be changing the canvas settings. So go ahead and select on this right tab here to format the page, open the canvas settings drop down. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna change the type from whatever it is to custom. The reason is because your canvas can only be so big when it's on the form. And in order to speed up the process of getting these different tiles formatted correctly, I'm gonna go ahead and recommend you set your canvas to this size, 300 by 150. This is because I'm gonna be doing 2 tiles that are stacked. If you're only looking to add 1 tile, then I would do 150 by 150. The out-of-the-box account form has 3 columns, and this is going to be going in the right column. So if your form has only 2 columns where the column width is wider, you might be able to push the 150. But if you're on a 3-column form, I would not recommend having your canvas be bigger than 150 pixels. If you're not understanding why, just trust me right now, but you will see eventually at the end. So now that we have our canvas set, let's go ahead and get some tiles on the board. So I'm gonna go ahead and select a card here, a card visual. What I'm looking to do is to look at the actual revenue of all of the closed opportunities for a specific account. So I'm gonna go ahead and select the actual revenue for our first tile here. Now at this point, do not worry about the formatting. We're gonna go ahead and add our second tile. This second tile is going to capture the last close date. So the most recently closed opportunity for that account. So if I go ahead and drag this up to create space for our second tile, let's go ahead and add our second tile. Now what I want on this tile is to be the close date. And I can actually go here to the filtering on the field and select latest. So now we have our data selected and the tiles and the information we want to show on our form. You're going to want to make sure you get that right. I'm assuming not everybody is doing this exact same thing I am doing. If you are, let me know in the comments down below. But go ahead and create your tiles showing the data you want to. And then once you get all of your tiles on here, let's go ahead and format it so that you can read everything. I'm gonna go ahead and start on our first tile here. What I need to do is I need to decrease the size of this so that it can all get on the screen. Let's go ahead and make it about 30. That way we have enough of a buffer. If this were to continue to grow, it wouldn't cut off or put the ... on there. Now this sum of actual revenue does not look good. I want to change the label here. Yeah, that looks perfect there. So that way it's gonna show the person that is looking at the account what this is and remind them, hey, this is the sum of all of the actual revenue that was on this account. I'm gonna go ahead and now that I have that formatted, go ahead and make this a little shorter so that we have a little more space for this one. I'm gonna line that up exactly with the bottom of that. Now I'm going to do the similar thing with this. Let's go ahead and make this smaller until we all get it on there. Perfect. Perfect. Same goes with the label here. Now I actually think I want to make this a little smaller, yeah, so that the time fits on there beautifully. Maybe one more. Perfect. And now after actually getting that on there, I want to go ahead and move this one down as well so that they're even. Say I wanted to add a third tile, I could kind of squish these down and scoot them up, but for the sake of our example, I'm going to say that this is looking pretty good. We have the data points we want to capture on our accounts. So once you have your report built, now you're gonna have to save and publish it. You can do that directly with this button here. I know it just says publish, but if you click it, then you'll be prompted to save as well. So let's go ahead and save our changes. Now I'm gonna go ahead and call this our opportunity info for accounts. Be sure to be paying attention where you are actually saving this. I'm just going to save this to my files for our example, but make sure you're saving this where you should be. So if I go ahead and hit save. So once you click save, I'm gonna go ahead and select my workspaces. I recommend you do the same as well. I see that this says solution here, but this does not directly mean it is the solution you created previously in the first step. So it might be tempting to put it there and skip the next step, but go ahead and put it in my workspaces. That is okay. We are going to be now adding it to our solution. So now that your report is published, then you can go ahead and navigate back to the Maker portal, the make.powerapps.com. And what we're going to be looking to do is adding our report and our data set to our solution. So here I am back in our solution. I'm gonna go ahead and select add existing. Then under analytics, I know report might be tempting, but it's gonna be under analytics. You're gonna look at Power BI data set. Make sure you change this tab from Dataverse to from Power BI. Go ahead and select the workspace that you publish your database to. Highlight that, let's select add. So once that's added, you're gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing to your report, get it added to your solution. This step is really important. So the first time I tried to do this, I skipped this step. I didn't think it really mattered for them to be in the solution, but it turns out if you go ahead and try to now add it to your form before adding it to the solution, you won't be able to find it. So it needs to be in the same solution as the form you're trying to update. If we go ahead and open up our form, the first thing I'm going to do is create a new one-column section. I want these tiles to be in their own section. If you want these to be directly with the timeline or in that same section, you can do that. This component does act as any other component added to a form, but for our example, I want to create a singular section called Opportunity Details, and that way the tiles will just live in that section on the form. So once you know where you actually want your report to be on your form, you're gonna go ahead and select components in the ribbon if you have not already, and then you're gonna select the Power BI report underneath the Power BI dropdown. Let's go ahead and drag and drop that onto our new section. Now, thankfully, because I only have one report in the system, it actually found it automatically and pre-populated the report I'm looking for. If you have several, then you can find them here. So the final step in getting our report added is there's an additional filtering criteria that you will most likely want, and that is going to be we only want these tiles to show information specifically related to this account. Now, there might be an example where you want to show a cumulative business-wide metric on every form, but for our example, we want to show only the actual revenue for this particular account. So in order to do that, you need to add some filtering that says, hey, only look at this account's opportunities. This here is the filtering on screen now. You can copy and paste this from the description down below. This is a rough breakdown of the filtering. So if you are using something other than the accounts or opportunities, you're gonna have to substitute the different fields and schema IDs for what you are using. But once you have this filtering configured, go ahead and copy and paste that directly into this static value. Once you've done that, let's go ahead and select Done. Once the component is added, you should eventually see this here. Mine every time has said blank, but no worries, that does not mean anything is wrong. Let's go ahead and save and publish our form and then take a look at it in CRM in the Sales Hub. Boom, save and publish. Let's go ahead and navigate to our app and do a hard cache refresh. As you can see, my right column, it now has my tiles directly from my report in here. Now, what I'm going to recommend you do is you play around with the formatting. If, for example, you do not like how this looks, so mine is, I'd say, a little too tall, it seems pretty stretched out, I may want to squish it down. You can do that by going back to your report, updating it as necessary with the different format, and then saving and publishing that. And then go ahead and sync your changes in the Power Apps Maker portal. So feel free to fidget around with the different formats and the different canvas sizes. In my opinion, I think this is so cool. This brings you the ability to capture really detailed and intimate information about your accounts, contacts, opportunities. This can be done on any of the forms. The process can be a little more tedious, but I'm telling you, it is so worth it. This can be something you will already have the ability to use if you're already using Power BI and D365. Some more things on Power BI. If you haven't noticed, they're starting to rebrand it slightly towards Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric is a new way that Microsoft is managing big data with different AI capabilities. I would love to tell you about all the features and enhancement Microsoft Fabric is bringing, but you're gonna have to actually check out this video here that's gonna cover everything you need to know in less than 4 minutes. Thank you guys so much for sticking to end the video. My name is Griffin Lickfelt. If you have any comments, let me hear them down in the comments down below. Consider subscribing, and I'm excited to connect with you guys in the next one.